Before we dive into today's topic, I want to tell you about something that's changed how I approach pigeon health and performance. I run another channel called Pigeon Healthy where I share natural herbal treatment methods that most fanciers have never heard of. We're talking about plants and natural remedies that have powerful healing and performance-enhancing effects on pigeons. Things like specific herb combinations that boost immunity, natural treatments for respiratory diseases, plants that improve digestion and recovery after races, and natural alternatives to chemical medications. We cover pigeon diseases you might be struggling with right now: canker, respiratory infections, coccidiosis, worms, and show you exactly how to treat them using natural methods that actually work. No guessing. No expensive medications with side effects. Just proven herbal protocols used by top European lofts. If you're serious about keeping your birds healthy naturally and improving their performance without chemicals, go subscribe to Pigeon Healthy right now. The knowledge there could save you birds, save you money, and give you an edge your competition doesn't have. Now let's get into today's topic. For 10 years I managed my birds' weight using evening weighing. After work around 6 p.m. I'd catch birds and weigh them. I tracked the numbers in a notebook. Bird 1, 350 grams. Bird 2, 345 grams. Bird 3, 338 grams. I thought I was being scientific and precise. I managed feeding to maintain these target weights. If bird gained 5 grams from previous week, I reduced feed slightly. The bird lost 5 grams, I increased feed. I believed I had accurate weight management system. Then I visited Belgian Championship Loft. The fancier, Paul, asked about my weight management. I explained my evening weighing protocol. He looked at me like I was insane. He said, "You weigh birds at 6 p.m.? After they've eaten all day? That's meaningless. The number includes 30 to 40 grams of feed and water in their digestive system. You're not measuring bird's body weight. You're measuring bird plus dinner. If you want real weight, weigh at 6 a.m. before feeding. Empty crop. Empty digestive system. That's bird's actual weight. That's what bird weighs during racing. Everything else is noise." I was skeptical, but I tested it. Next morning, 6 a.m., I weighed same birds I'd weighed at 6 p.m. previous evening. The results shocked me. Bird 1 that weighed 350 grams at 6 p.m. weighed 318 grams at 6 a.m. 32-gram difference. Bird 2, 6 p.m. 345, 6 a.m. 312. 33-gram difference. Bird 3, 6 p.m. 338, 6 a.m. 305. 33-gram difference. Every bird showed 30 to 35-gram difference between evening and morning weight. 10% of total body weight. I realized I'd been managing my birds to completely wrong target weights for a decade. I thought 350 grams was race fit based on evening weighing. But birds' actual body mass was 318. During races, birds fly with empty digestive systems. They race at their 6 a.m. weight, not their 6 p.m. weight. I'd been 32 grams off in my weight management. No wonder my results were inconsistent. I was working with fundamentally inaccurate data. Today I'm teaching you why morning weighing is the only valid method, how digestive content creates massive weight fluctuation throughout the day, and the exact protocol for accurate weight tracking that championship lofts use. Let me start by explaining the 24-hour digestive cycle and how it affects weight. Birds eat throughout the day. Each time they eat, feed enters the crop. The crop is expandable storage organ. Feed sits in crop being gradually passed to stomach and intestines for digestion. A bird might consume 25 to 35 grams of feed during one day. But this feed doesn't enter the digestive system all at once. It accumulates in crop and processes over hours. Morning at 6 a.m., assuming bird last ate previous evening around 6 p.m., 12 hours have passed. The crop has emptied completely. All feed from previous day has moved through digestive system and been either absorbed or excreted. The bird's weight at this moment is pure body mass. Bones, muscles, organs, feathers, body fat. No temporary digestive content. This is bird's true weight. This is comparable weight between days. If bird weighs 320 grams at 6 a.m. on Monday and 320 grams at 6 a.m. on Friday, bird's body composition hasn't changed. Consistent true weight. First morning feeding happens. Bird eats 15 grams of feed. By 7 a.m., bird weighs 335 grams. 15-gram increase entirely from crop contents. Not body mass change. Just temporary feed storage. Mid-morning the bird drinks water. 5 to 8 grams of water consumption. By 9 a.m., bird might weigh 340 grams. 20-gram increase from 6 a.m. Still not body mass change. Just crop and digestive contents accumulating. Midday the bird eats again. Another 10 grams of feed. By noon, bird weighs 350 grams. 30-gram increase from 6 a.m. baseline. Throughout afternoon, bird continues eating small amounts and drinking. By 6 p.m., the bird might have consumed total of 30 to 35 grams of feed and 10 to 12 grams of water since morning. Some of earlier feed has moved through digestive system, but later feed is still in crop and intestines. Total digestive content at 6 p.m. might be 25 to 30 grams. Bird weighs 350 to 355 grams. 30 to 35 grams above 6 a.m. weight. Overnight the digestive system processes remaining contents. Crop empties. Intestines evacuate. By 6 a.m. next morning, bird is back to baseline 320 grams. The cycle repeats daily. 6 a.m. is low point. 6 p.m. is high point. The difference is 10 to 12% of body weight purely from digestive contents. This massive daily fluctuation means weighing time is critical. You must weigh at consistent time to get meaningful data. And that time must be morning with empty crop to get true body weight. Now let me show you my experimental data tracking this cycle precisely. I selected 5 birds. I weighed them every 2 hours for 3 consecutive days. 6 a.m., 8 a.m., 10 a.m., noon, 2 p.m., 4 p.m., 6 p.m., 8 p.m. Then next morning at 6 a.m. again. This gave me complete picture of weight fluctuation throughout day. Here's what I found. Bird 1 baseline 6 a.m. weight was 318 grams. By 8 a.m. after morning feeding, 333 grams, 15-gram increase. By noon, 345 grams, 27-gram increase. By 6 p.m., 351 grams, 33-gram peak increase. By next morning 6 a.m., back to 318 grams. Perfect cycle. Bird 2 baseline 324. 8 a.m. 338. Noon 350. 6 p.m. 358. Next 6 a.m. 324. 34-gram peak fluctuation. Bird 3 baseline 312. Peak evening 347. 35-gram fluctuation. Bird 4 baseline 328. Peak 364. 36-gram fluctuation. Bird 5 baseline 315. Peak 348. 33-gram fluctuation. Average across 5 birds, morning baseline was 319.4 grams. Evening peak was 353.6 grams. Average daily fluctuation was 34.2 grams. That's 10.7% of body weight fluctuating daily just from digestive contents. This data proves that weighing time dramatically affects the number you get. If you weigh at 6 a.m. consistently, you're measuring true body mass. If you weigh at random times throughout day, your data is contaminated with variable amounts of digestive content. You can't compare weights accurately. You can't track trends. Your weight management is built on quicksand. Now let me explain why 6 a.m. weight is racing weight and why it's the only weight that matters. During race, bird is basket evening before race. Last feeding is usually around 6 p.m. before basketing. Bird sits in basket overnight. Basket doesn't have feed. Bird can't eat. By liberation at 6 a.m. race morning, bird's crop is empty. Liberation weight equals 6 a.m. baseline weight. This is weight bird flies at. Not evening weight. Not midday weight. Morning empty weight. Over first hour of race flight, bird burns through any remaining glycogen and starts metabolizing body fat for energy. The bird's weight actually decreases slightly during race as fuel is consumed. By the time bird arrives home, weight might be 2 to 3 grams below liberation weight from fuel consumption and water loss through respiration. The bird is essentially flying at its 6 a.m. empty weight minus fuel burn. If you manage bird's condition based on 6 p.m. weight, you're 35 grams off from actual racing weight. You think bird weighs 350. It actually races at 315. Massive error. This error causes 2 possible management mistakes. Mistake 1: you think bird at 350 evening weight is race fit. You maintain that weight. But bird's actual 6 a.m. weight is 315. That's too light for bird's frame size. Bird should be 325 to 330. You're underfeeding by 10 to 15 grams daily because you're managing to contaminated evening weight. Bird races undernourished. Performance suffers from insufficient energy reserves. Mistake 2: you correctly identify that bird should be 350 grams for its frame size, but you're measuring at evening. Bird's evening weight is 350, which seems perfect. But bird's true 6 a.m. weight is 315. During next week you decide to add 5 grams to get bird to 355, which you think is optimal race weight. You increase feeding. Evening weight goes to 355. But 6 a.m. weight goes to 320. Still too light. You see 355 evening and think you're over target. You reduce feeding again. The bird never reaches proper weight because you're chasing wrong number. The only solution is measure at 6 a.m. exclusively. Weigh bird before any feeding. Crop completely empty. Record that number. That's bird's true racing weight. Manage feeding to hit target 6 a.m. weight for that bird's frame size. Ignore evening weight completely. It's irrelevant. Only 6 a.m. matters. Once you switch to 6 a.m. weighing, weight management becomes accurate and effective. You're working with real data. You can track trends. You can compare week to week meaningfully. Your target weights make sense because they're actual body mass, not body mass plus dinner. Let me teach you the Friday morning weighing protocol that Belgian championship lofts use universally. Friday is weighing day because Saturday or Sunday are typical race days. Friday 6 a.m. gives you 24 to 48 hours before basketing. Enough time to make minor adjustments if needed, but close enough to race that weight is predictive of race day condition. Here's exact protocol. Thursday evening, feed birds normally. Whatever your standard evening ration is. Don't change anything. Birds eat and roost normally overnight. Friday morning, wake up early. Go to loft at 6 a.m. before sunrise if necessary. Bring accurate digital scale. Minimum 1 gram precision. Ideally 0.1 gram precision, but 1 gram is adequate. Bring notebook or phone for recording. Enter loft quietly. Don't feed birds. Don't provide fresh water yet. Nothing that would allow birds to consume anything. Catch first bird gently. Minimize stress. Place bird on scale. Wait for reading to stabilize. Most birds will stand calmly for a few seconds, allowing accurate reading. If bird struggles, hold gently until it calms. Read weight. Record in notebook. Bird 1, 322 grams. Release bird. Catch next bird. Repeat. Work through entire race team. Usually 10 to 15 birds depending on team size. Takes 10 to 15 minutes total. After weighing all birds, you can provide morning feeding and water. But weighing must happen before any consumption. Record all weights. Now analyze. Compare each bird's current Friday 6 a.m. weight to previous week's Friday 6 a.m. weight. Look for changes. Bird that was 325 last week is 322 this week. 3 gram loss. What? Is bird sick? Train too hard? Underfed? Investigate. Bird that was 320 last week is 327 this week. 7 gram gain. Is bird getting fat? Overfed? Undertrained? Check keel for fat deposits. Also compare current weight to target weight for that bird. You should have established target through experience. Small frame bird might target 312 to 318. Medium frame 320 to 330. Large frame 330 to 340. If bird is within target range and hasn't changed from last week, bird is maintaining condition. Race it. If bird is above target range, bird is too heavy. Skip race and reduce feeding. If bird is below target range, bird is too light. Skip race and investigate health. Only race birds that hit target 6 a.m. weight. After weighing and recording, perform keel fat test. Feel each bird's keel. Does weight match fat level? If bird weighs 325, which is in range, but keel feels fat padded, weight is correct but body composition is wrong. Too much fat, not enough muscle. Need to adjust feeding and training to change composition. If bird weighs 325 and keel is sharp and defined, weight and composition both correct. Perfect. Race this bird. The combination of 6 a.m. weight measurement and keel palpation gives complete picture of condition. Some fanciers ask, what if I can't weigh at exactly 6 a.m.? What if I have to weigh at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. due to work schedule? The answer is consistency matters more than exact time. If you always weigh at 7:30 a.m. before feeding, that's fine. Just be consistent. Always 7:30. Never 6 one day and 8 the next. Pick a time before feeding and stick to it rigidly. However, earlier is better. The longer birds have been awake, the more likely they've drunk water or picked at leftover feed. 6 a.m. ensures complete emptiness. 8 a.m. risks some consumption even if you haven't deliberately fed them. Target 6 a.m. if at all possible. Other fanciers ask, what about weighing race evening when basketing? That's 6 p.m. or later. Very late for accurate weight. The answer is basketing weight is useful as check but not for management. Yes, weigh birds when you basket them. Record the weight. This shows you what they weigh going into basket. But don't use that weight for management decisions. Use it only for comparison. If bird weighed 320 at 6 a.m. Friday and weighs 355 when basket Saturday 6 p.m., that's normal. 35-gram increases digestive content from feeding throughout Saturday. This is expected. If bird weighed 320 Friday 6 a.m. but only weighs 325 when basket Saturday 6 p.m., something is wrong. Bird should have gained 30+ grams from feeding. If it didn't, bird isn't eating properly. Might be sick. Investigate before racing. Basketing weight confirms birds are eating normally. But management is based on Friday 6 a.m. weight. That's where you make decisions. That's where you track condition. Basketing weight is just verification that nothing went wrong in final 24 hours. Now let me address the objection that weighing birds weekly is too much work. 15 birds at 1 gram takes 15 minutes. That's 1% of 1 week's time. It's the single most important 15 minutes of race preparation. In those 15 minutes you get objective data on every bird's condition. You identify which birds are race ready and which aren't. You catch problems early before they become obvious. You track trends showing improvement or decline. This 15-minute investment saves hours of wasted effort training birds that aren't ready or racing birds that will fail. Compare this to fanciers who don't weigh birds regularly. They evaluate by eye and feel only. They might catch obvious problems. Bird looks sick. Bird feels too light or too heavy. But they miss subtle issues. Bird that's 5 grams heavier than last week looks the same visually. 5 grams doesn't feel different when handling. But 5 grams over 4 weeks is 20 grams. That's significant weight gain that crept up unnoticed. Weekly weighing catches this at 5 grams when it's easily corrected. Not weighing means discovering it at 20 grams when bird is seriously overfat. Prevention versus intervention. Weekly 6 a.m. weighing is prevention. Belgian Championship lofts weigh religiously. Every Friday 6 a.m. Data recorded in notebooks going back years. They can tell you what each bird weighed every Friday for the past 3 seasons. They know each bird's weight trends. They know seasonal patterns. They know what weight predicts best performance for each individual bird. This data-driven approach is one reason Belgian results are so consistent. American fanciers often rely on feel and eye. This works for very experienced fanciers with decades of practice. But even experienced fanciers make mistakes. Data doesn't lie. 322 grams is 322 grams. No interpretation needed. No subjective assessment. Just fact. Let me give you real example of how 6 a.m. weighing revealed problem that visual assessment missed. Bird appeared healthy and fit visually. Bright eyes. Tight feathers. Good behavior. I weighed Friday 6 a.m. 328 grams. Previous Friday, 323. 5-gram gain in 1 week. Previous week before that, 319. 4-gram gain that week too. 9 grams total gain over 2 weeks. Visual assessment didn't detect this. Bird looked the same. But scale revealed upward trend. I checked keel. Slight fat padding I hadn't noticed during casual handling. Bird was getting overfat gradually. If I'd raced it, performance would have been mediocre. Instead I reduced feeding 20% for 2 weeks. Next weigh-in, 321 grams. 7-gram loss. Keel was sharper. I maintained reduced feeding. 2 weeks later, 318. 10-gram loss total. Bird was lean and sharp. I raced it. First place. The weighing data caught fat accumulation early and allowed correction before it became serious problem. Contrast with fancier who doesn't weigh regularly. Same bird would have gained 9 grams unnoticed. Then maybe another 5 grams over next 2 weeks. 14 grams total. By the time bird is obviously overfat to visual inspection, it's carrying 15 to 20 grams excess. Now you're racing bird in poor condition or you must implement aggressive fat loss protocol taking 3 to 4 weeks. Problem that could have been caught at 5 grams and corrected in 10 days became 15-gram problem requiring month to fix. Weekly weighing prevents problems from developing. It's early warning system that works. If this video revealed that you've been weighing birds at the wrong time of day and managing to meaningless numbers your entire racing career, hit the like button. Subscribe for precision management techniques that eliminate guesswork. Comment 6 a.m. weight if you're implementing Friday morning weighing protocol starting this week. And visit Pigeon Healthy for metabolism and weight management support. Natural herbs that optimize fat burning, muscle development, and healthy weight maintenance. Weigh accurately, manage precisely, race confidently. That's professional approach. See you in next video.